Hi everyone, my name is Haley and welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to do my May TBR. I have quite a few books that I want to get through. I have quite a few books that I've already started that I won't be able to finish by the end of April. So I want to show you guys what I'm looking forward to, what I'm most excited for, and what my reading plans will be like for the month of May. I'm actually graduating from university on May 21st. I'm coming up towards the end of the semester. I've been super busy this past month, so April has not been my best reading month. But I'm hoping to knock out all of my final projects by the beginning of May so that I can have just a week or two to kind of coast until the semester's over and I graduate, and then really use the last week and a half of May to get a lot of reading done. As for the books that I've started in April and have not finished, I'm not proud of how many books that is. It's only 4, but I'm not used to starting 4 books at one time. But this month I was in a really bad reading slump and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to read. Let's just see what I've started and haven't finished yet. So at the beginning of this month, I started Ruin and Rising, the 3rd and final book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I'm on page 136 out of 417. I read Shadow and Bone in one day, and then it took me a long time to get through Siege and Storm, so I feel like I'm just a little bit burnt out on the series, and that's why I haven't picked it up since the beginning of the month and finished it. As we all know, the Netflix series is out, so I want to finish this before I can watch that. I really want to finish this as soon as possible. The next book that I started in April and have not finished yet is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I read Sorcery of Thorns in March. I really loved it. I went to Barnes & Noble and I picked this up. I'm on chapter 12, page 156 out of 297. So really not that much further to go. This book is pretty short. I really want to finish this. I'm really enjoying it so far. I think Margaret Rogerson's writing is super beautiful and I love that she writes fantasy standalones. If you don't know what this is about, it's about this human girl who lives in a fairy world, and she has this thing called the craft, and that's basically human skills that these humans have, and they use them to benefit fairies. So her craft is painting, so her job is to paint portraits of fairies when they come and pay her for it, and then she can bargain protection spells or basically anything that she wants that she thinks is going to be useful. And one day the Prince of the Autumn Court comes and she paints a picture of him, but she paints human emotion in his eyes. He comes and arrests her basically and is taking her to court for trial. That's what this premise is about. I think it's super interesting. I'm really enjoying it so far and I really want to finish it. The next book that I started in April and haven't finished yet is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I just reached part 2, chapter 9, so I'm on page 187 out of 659, so I have a ways to go with this one. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's high fantasy, so there's a lot to take in, and sometimes I want to read something that's easier to digest, so I will switch what I'm reading. There's a lot of information already, as you can see. This is about a world that is ruled by the Lord Ruler. He's like immortal, and there's these people called Ska, and they're basically slaves to the nobility, and those are the 2 class systems that are in place in the society. And there are these people called Mistings who can use metals to, like, they can ingest metal and use the power that it gives them. Mistings can only control 1 metal, and Mistborn can control all, I think it's 10 metals in this society. So Mistborn are very rare. They are usually of high class nobility. One of the Mistborn in this book is not of high nobility, so it's about them plotting with their crew to overthrow the Lord Ruler. Where I'm at now is they're getting everyone together and they're planning out what they're gonna do and training and all of that stuff. I'm really enjoying it so far. A lot of it is still like world building and info dumping, which isn't exactly my favorite form of writing. And there's only info dumping sometimes, but it's not like the whole book is like that. I'm really enjoying it so far and I'm excited to see how this first book ends. And then the last book that I've started, I actually just started it yesterday, and today is April 29th, but I really wanted to read it, and that is Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. This is my boyfriend's favorite Murakami book. and I'm visiting him right now, so we're reading it together. I've never read a Murakami book. I've heard that a lot of his writing is really great, and I know that a lot of people love him. It's magical realism, I would say. I'm not exactly sure what this is about because I'm only 38 pages in, and there's like 467 pages. Really in the dark still, but I can read you the back. It says, "Here we meet a teenage boy, Kafka Tamura, who is on the run, and Nakata, an aging simpleton who is drawn to Kafka for reasons that he cannot fathom. As their paths converge, acclaimed author Haruki Murakami unfolds readers in a world where cats talk, fish fall from the sky, and spirits slip out of their bodies to make love or commit murder in what is a truly remarkable journey." I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm glad I'm finally reading a Murakami book, and I'm excited to see what happens. Now that I've talked about the ones that I want to finish that I've already started, let's talk about the 4 that I would like to start and finish in May. The first book is City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. This is the 5th book in the Mortal Instruments series. I've already read this series. I'm doing a reread with one of my friends who's never read it before. We read 1 through 4 in March, but we've both been really busy with school, so we haven't gotten around to the 5th one, but summer vacation and graduation is approaching, so I hope we'll be able to get around to this and finish it off and have 1 book left for June. Really excited to get to this. And the next book that I want to read in the month of May is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, the duology that takes place after the events of Shadow and Bone. I don't think it's the same characters. I'm pretty sure it's a whole different set of characters. It's a heist novel. I don't have the dust jacket on because I brought this on my visit to my boyfriend's house, so I didn't want it to get ripped or anything. I'm really excited to get to this. I think I'm just kind of burned out on Leigh Bardugo, if I'm being honest, because I did read her books back to back. It's only 2 of them, but I kind of was just getting bored with the Grishaverse. That's why I haven't finished the last one. I feel like I'm obligated to finish it just to know what happens. And when I first read Siege and Storm and Shadow and Bone, I really enjoyed them, but I think upon further inspection, they might not be my favorite. So I'm hoping Six of Crows can help me change my mind about this whole universe. Everyone loves it. I hope that I love it too. And I just recently got Ninth House. I hope that I enjoy that book too, because I don't think Shadow and Bone is really doing it for me. I'm excited to get into this and see how I think about Leigh Bardugo once I'm done. And the next book that I want to read is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. All of these books follow 3 different sisters, the Brown sisters, and this is the first one, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. And I love to read romance. I just don't do it very often, as you can see. I just read The Unhoneymooners, which I really enjoyed, and that's getting me back into the romance kick. I'm really excited for this. I'm assuming this is like a friends to lovers romance, or like she's enlisting as help and with her list, and then they fall in love, I'm assuming is what happens. I just really want to read this and be in the loop, and I really want to read the last one in this companion series because I heard the last one is enemies to lovers, which is my favorite trope of all time. Really looking forward to this one. Also, I love this cover. Very stoked for this. And then the last book that I would like to read in May is The Lord of the Rings, Part 1, The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm not exactly sure how to say his last name. I watched the movies when I was very young. I don't remember much, and I really want to rewatch them, but I figured I should read the books first. I'm hoping to get to this. I want to do a whole reading vlog where I read the whole series, and I also want to do a series on my channel called Fiction versus Film where I compare books to the movies, and I would love to do that with The Lord of the Rings as well. I really want to get to this. I'm sure you all know what this is about, but I'll just read the little blurb on the back. It says, in a sleepy village in the Shire, a young hobbit is entrusted with an immense task. He must make a perilous journey across Middle-earth to the cracks of doom, there to destroy the ruling ring of power, the only thing that prevents the Dark Lord's evil dominion. I think Lord of the Rings really laid the foundation for the fantasy that we see today, considering this book was written in 1956 and is high fantasy, super adventurous, just all the things that we're seeing today in our fantasy novels. So I'm really excited to see how one of the blueprints for fantasy is written, if I'm going to enjoy it, and some parallels that I can make between this and some of the tropes that we're seeing today. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. Those are all the books that I hope to read in May. I'm hoping that I won't have too much work to do with school and that I can really focus on reading, because I've only read 2 books this month so far in April. I'm trying to finish The Alchemist before the month is over. I would love to make a dent in my reading goal, which is 50 books this year, and just get to some of these most anticipated reads that I've been really looking forward to. If you see any books on here that you've already read, or some that you're reading this month, or some that you just want to read, please comment down below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know what your reading plans are for May and what your reading goal is. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I don't really have a posting schedule yet, so I guess I will see you when I post another video. I hope you're all staying safe and enjoying the books that you're reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye!